If the NES controller had as many buttons as the Genesis one or something, the console probably would have looked way too intimidating. But a cross and 2 buttons? Well, my family loves religion and elevators, count us in. No matter what shape he comes in, my money's on round. Eggman would be a fantastic idea for a fighter. The winner of the Step On Me award is Tifa Lockhart. I'd say it's a testament to how far everyone feels Crash fell that this game conveniently advertises itself by saying that everything from Wrath of Cortex onward didn't actually happen, guys. Don't worry, Biff is not real, he can't hurt you. 75 modes don't mean much if the only decent ones are thin as paper. And 4 boards? 4 boards? This one from 22 years ago had more. And they were more interesting. And every character dressed up depending on the board you played. And I don't even think 2 is the best one. I mean, yeah, Super is better than the ones with the cars, but that's like saying, oh, thank you for spitting in my food instead of murdering me. Despite the fact that I literally just said that every Mario Kart has something unique and fun in it, I honestly don't find myself coming back to previous entries too often. I mean, if I want my Mario Kart fixed, why wouldn't I just play the entry that's on the console I use most often, or the one that's on my phone? Well, if any game in the series can answer that question, it's gotta be Double Dash. For starters, this is the first game to have an intro cutscene, which shockingly means this is the first time you didn't need an instruction manual to understand the plot. And even then, if you read the original manual, you were actually reading about Mega Man and Dr. Wright saving Monsteropolis, so really, this was the first time you could understand the plot. As we all get older, it gets easier and easier to say that back in my day, things were a lot better. Of course, back in your day, there was also polio, so how's that feel?
Wade.
Oh my god, indie developer Dan Fernacci? Fernacci? What are you doing here?
I've brought you something. A gift.
Is it Rivals of Aether Definitive Edition? I know it just came out.
Well,
I mean, I already have it. I've been playing this game for like 5 years. And I was pretty obviously about to mention it. Speaking of dying, though, you may be doing it a lot in this game. As in, I think a lot of people are gonna find it rather challenging. My opinion on this is kinda complicated, because I personally don't think getting through the game is all that difficult, but I could say the same thing about Crash 1, which was, of course, notoriously said to be more difficult than Beyblade Metal Fusion for the Nintendo DS. But if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that there were 2 characters that ruled the original console. Crash and Glover. I'm just kidding. Glover f***ing sucked. Being someone who, especially at the time, had extremely little knowledge of PlayStation, this roster didn't make me scream, boy, I really want to try the home series of all these fun characters. It was more like, oh, these are the people I stay 10 feet away from at gas stations. The Xbox One released on November 22nd, 2013, and damn, what a console. I mean, you wouldn't even believe just how many games it has. Rare Replay? Corgan? But don't worry guys, I'm sure I'll find a use for it. I have tons of consoles. For example, not an Xbox One. Mario games are always pretty easy, but even in that small pool, 3D Land is considered to be one of the absolute easiest. In regards to the levels themselves, I don't know if I agree. They can be kinda tricky, but in regards to actually getting a game over, Jesus, please, I amassed over 300 lives without even doing the exploit. No, I promise I didn't. Ignore what you're seeing on screen right now, I swear I didn't. I think it's only common sense that we kick things off with none of these games because, as it turns out, the original arcade game is playable on the Switch as well. Ah, hell yeah, thanks hamsters. Some may argue that. This is gonna be a problem. If there's one thing in this world that'll make me say holy piss, the item balance in Mario Kart DS is f***ing insane. It's gotta be the item balance in Mario Kart DS. Boy, I sure do love taking pictures of Pokemon. But if only I could do it in a video game. You know what I'm saying? Much like its predecessor, you'll be exploring a hub world that takes you to smaller stages with varied objectives within them. There's Bianco Hills, Rico Harbor, Gelato Beach, Pinna Park, Hell, Noki Bay, and Serena Beach. If you're at all familiar with 64, you're probably thinking, wow, that's like half as many levels as last time, but let me correct you. It's less than half. While Zelda's adventure is very obviously based off of the first game, this one is clearly the inspiration for Wand of Gamelon and Faces of Evil. The only real difference gameplay-wise, aside from some things those games added, is that you just pick your location on a map rather than having to walk there. And you know, I suppose if there was a reason I could understand for them ditching this formula, it's that. More people buying the games means we're more likely to get another one, we're more likely to have the next one be even higher quality, and of course, there are many more people to talk about it with. But as a smart man once said, for each and every action, there are 15 more people who hate Fire Emblem just because of Smash.
No! That's That's not the point.
Don't worry though, us Europeans aren't missing out on too much. The American versions are only voiced by literally the voices of Ash and Misty, son of a bitch! I was gonna praise this game for being fully voice acted, but now I just hate a continent. Afraid of fighting alone, Entropy runs away into his portal, declaring that he'll be back, and Aku Aku requests that you collect all the gem shards to chase after him. Yes, our main villain just ran away scared, and one of the good guys commented, "Damn, if only we could track him down and murder him." So of course that's what I'm gonna do. Back in the previous decade or two, we saw loads of series and companies throwing their hats into the ring. You had Pac-Man Kart, you had Disney Kart, you had f***ing Jar Jar Kart because our species did not deserve to survive this long. At the very least, I never heard about any hardware issues with the one. I guess that's a positive. Hey, so we just finished up the first test drive of that new car. We got flames coming out of the exhaust pipe, and the air conditioner is filling the cabin with CO2, but it doesn't explode, so ship it. Alright, so he's a blue hedgehog who runs fast. I know exactly what this plot needs. War. L is both ground pound and camera center, which means you can't center the camera while in the air, and B is just whatever the hell they want it to be that day. I think the best example comes in the form of the grates. You press A to jump onto them, so I'd assume you press A to jump off of them, but no, that lets you punch one of the flipping parts, so you use B to get off. However, if you're on a sideways one, it's A to get off, and if you want to punch a sideways one, it's B. What the f***? B also lets you dive forward, but it also lets you talk to people, but it also lets you pick things up. I'm gonna have an aneurysm. Aiding you on your quest is your unlimited supply of items like Pokemon food and Pester Balls. The former can be used to lure Pokemon out and smack them in the face, and the latter pretty much just smacks them in the face, but sometimes with bonus effects. Our main character Todd will bring millions of these things into a mission and just throw them like a madman, but he will be dead in the ground before he brings more than one roll of film. And they're not randomly selected. Each clan does what it does for a very specific reason. The good guys get stronger through the power of friendship, the football players pass from one teammate to the other to make big plays, and my personal favorite, the dinosaurs. Sometimes they just f***ing kill each other. Because they're dinosaurs. Sure, plenty of kids will beg for fast food because they just like having their insides melted, but if you slap a plastic abomination in the box, that's how you really get them. But I'm a video game boy, why don't they have anything that appeals to me? Oh, yeah, it's built up a weirdly large number of Smash fighters over the years, but how is that Fire Emblem's fault? 8 characters? What the f***? Marth? The triple shells and the golden mushroom have been demoted back to normal items in this one, along with the Babam becoming a normal item for the very first time, as well as the most useless piece of shit I have ever used in a Mario Kart game. I'm not really sure what happened here, but I consistently watched other racers drive right next to it, only for it to blow up after they've passed. My life is meaningless. Video games are pretty fun. I mean, look at this disc. That's a good looking disc right there. But have you ever thought, man, if only I had an obnoxious oversized box I could use to play it? Oh my god. When you get inside the giant copyright infringement, "Alright, your non-refundable order is in, we'll ship that headstone to you in 3 to 4 days. Have a good day, sir." It's revealed that Sonic is still alive. Oh. Number 11, Boulder Canyon. This track has the potential to be one of the absolute best, but what the f are these logs? Seriously, I need to call someone about these logs. Dear Jesus, what the f are these logs? But there's one glaring issue with the Castlevania franchise, and it starts with a Ko, ends with a me. Are they a good company? No. Not only is Spyro wonderfully voiced by the one and only Tom Kenny, every dragon in this game is voiced, and combining that with the gorgeous animation of each of them makes the world come alive in a way that makes me so happy we've come this far in video game technology. I will say though that the brilliant animation makes the moments when the animation is not so good really stand out. One minute it looks like Pixar, the next, oh god, oh f. I remember being a kid back in 2003 when my friend who had a PS2 popped in Nitro Kart. I had no idea what was going on, but I knew that I was basically playing Mario Kart and there was, like, an egg? So I had the essentials. From what I can tell, it does cause AI racers to wiggle and slow down a tiny bit, but let me give you a comprehensive guide on what to do if you're hit by one. Step 1, look at the bottom screen. Step 2, change your pants. Literally every toy in this Happy Meal wave was based on Sonic. And then Billy Hatcher was there too. And you know what? He's probably the best one here. It's another dodge the waves of stuff game like the Sonic Drift one, but it's the only one I played that actually has things to avoid and things to collect. I do wish the obstacles were actual things and not just obstacles, but I'll take what I can get. Good job, Egg Boy. Now back into the box with you. I didn't know what the hell an ape escape was back then, but there were monkeys with hats. See a bucket list, I'm in. Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon, released on May 24th, 2018 for PC, 3DS, Switch, Xbox One, PS4, and even the Vita. Wow, my might as well have made one for the Zune, too. They've pushed me so far that I'm now looking at my most wanted Switch games, like a sequel to Super Sluggers, and thinking, you know, maybe they just shouldn't, because I'm at the point where I straight up lack confidence that they could make a game that good again, and I would rather have no game than another disappointment. You think the company that made this could manage this? I don't f***ing think so. When you start putting onomatopoeia in your game's title and making the villain this f***ing thing, that's when you know you've gone off the deep end. Christmas time, that beautiful time of year where everyone pretends to be happy, Arizona gets cold for about 2 weeks, and you can almost smell the capitalism in the air. Yeah, that's capitalism. I can't imagine what else it could be. If you haven't noticed because you watch all my videos at 50% speed or something, I mean, who am I to judge? This game is really fast. I also have Quilava, in fact he's the only one I found a duplicate of, but I have no idea what he's supposed to do. Judging by the little arms inside and the gap in the top, I guess it's supposed to fire something out when you press the button, but it doesn't work with mints, so I'm screwed. The standard running and jumping controls are perfection incarnate, the polar bear and jetpack controls are doable but still occasionally a little wonky, and the ice controls... Bandana D has sort of become a fourth playable character in the series, and seeing as we already have the first three, I think he's one of the most deserving of a chance to finally get in on the fun. He would undeniably be a bit simple, but we don't have any Lancer Spear Fighters in Smash yet. Damn it. This console, in the year 2020, doesn't track playtimes. This thing, dude! But just before the two heroes can be cut down, Sheeta's bodyguard Ogma shows up with his band of mercenaries and sends Gazik tumbling to his death, where he lands with all the force of your phone being set on a wireless charger. Number 25, GCN Baby Park. She took the f***ing kids. We suggest that it remain in the clear cover in which it was delivered. Fingerprints and exposure will cause the superb finish to tarnish. Oh, good thing we listened. Just so it's out there, I'll be playing this on the Switch version of Legacy Collection because it's the easiest to record and it'll look the best. Why am I choosing 4 and not, I don't know, the first one? Because that game is aged like f***ing polio, and this Cast of Robot Masters looks pretty sick. This was possibly the first game I ever played, and I've surely beaten it like a dozen times or more, yet the latter half of it still kicks my ass so frequently that I start to question if I actually have as much brain power as I think. Like, if I can't beat Mario 1, then... how in the hell am I supposed to beat Pinball? Spyro has but a few moves at his disposal. He can jump and glide through the air, violently gore enemies with his horns, burn their f***ing skin off, you know, the basics. The weak-ass scaredy cat is French, the guy from India wears a turban and has a tiger skin in his corner, and we're quickly brought back to Vodka Drunkinsky, who is of course Russian. I personally am firmly on the side of this being okay and everyone being allowed to be made fun of, though I have to admit that seeing the Japanese guys say sushi, kamikaze, Fujiyama, Nipponichi made me do a solid one of these. With very few exceptions when it comes to horror games, shooters, narratively driven games, no thanks, I'll play Mega Man 7 for the 45th time instead. But if there's one genre that, despite my general lack of passion for it, continues to bring me back time after time, I'm gonna have to go with the Burger King genre on this one, truly nothing but classics. And that's appreciated because if there's one thing that makes Sunshine so divisive among fans, it's the controls. First of all, can we stop arguing over this? It has become exceedingly clear that there is no such thing as good or bad controls in a 3D platformer. There's just no way to make everyone happy. There is no perfect control scheme, there is no objectively bad control scheme. Except for Mario 64 DS, that game controls like ass. Just roll your ball around listening to J-pop, not creating life-threatening diseases, and collecting bigger and bigger items to build up your Katamari. Sometimes there will be parameters that matter other than size, but it almost always comes down to rolling around and collecting stuff before the timer runs out. I mean, look, you could even make... Why did we give him that power? This is it, Garnif. Today, in the name of Altea, you'll meet your end.
Oh, but you forget, King Cornelius. You're a father figure in a Fire Emblem story.
That may be true, however... God, you know what? We're in this far. Let's just say it. What's going on with the UI being so goddamn boring? Is this a Nintendo console or a smartphone? Please accept that burn at face value, and please do not research the extensive similarities on a hardware and software level between the Switch and a smartphone. He easily stands out from the medieval aesthetic we've come to expect, since he's rocking a goddamn flintlock. I don't know anything about guns. Just pretend I said the right thing, please. I understand wanting the secrets to be, you know, secret. But when you get to the point where you're saying, just throw a fruit at this gap between Kakuna, then enter the Konami code and flip the footage 180 and Crash Bandicoot will appear for 1 frame, it goes a little too far in my opinion. Meanwhile, Tails gets ambushed by Chaos while trying to fix up Omega, but is saved in the nick of time by Sonic. But it's not the Sonic we know, it's classic Sonic from Mania and Generations. So you may now be asking, for what reason other than cheap fan service would they possibly bring him back? Why don't we kick things off with everyone's favorite lovable blue scamp, Sonic. Oh, it's dead. Yeah, I can't say I'm shocked to see that a lot of these things didn't survive. I mean, how would you like it if I locked you in a box for 16 years? I wonder why people don't come over anymore. So, we've got the original, we've got the portable one with tons of extra content, and we've got the 16-bit one that looks the best and has higher quality music. Which do I think you should play? I'm a sinner. He's normal summoning, he's fusion summoning, he's activating abilities, just look at him pop off right now. He sets up his board with 2 powerful level 7s and he's ready to strike. He goes for the attack and I cut his monster's attack in half, which makes it die to mine. Gee, that was fun. But of course, as I alluded to, the real reason I find myself coming back to it over and over is the Bandicoot. I know none of them were PlayStation exclusive, but like, weren't they? I mean, sure, you could buy Crash Bandicoot games on Xbox, but I'm not one to break the 10 Commandments like that. When I finally got to the end of it, I couldn't figure out how to get off Yoshi, and I was so scared I was gonna accidentally fall off and die. But then the game just randomly let me clip through the side, so that was nice. In the end, I'm probably one of the only people who has ever finished this level while still on Yoshi. But who cares how fun Crash is to play as in Crash Bandicoot? Can I have a swearing chimera, please?
Bastards!
Thank you! All you do is draw a little cardboard piece that'll tell you how many spaces to move and race to the end. They even included 6 playable characters, and one of them is Wart! I can't believe that you can only play as Wart in one game, and it's the f***ing Mario Advanced Kids Meal board game. Oh my god, man. Seriously, put Crash in this game and it may just kill me. This is how I'm going to die someday. I mean, either that or my bad liver. Who's to say, really? Each world includes one level where Spyro must complete challenges like burning enemies, flying through arches, and opening treasure chests, all within a time limit and while continuously flying. You can technically land, but you're gonna want to stay airborne to stand a chance at getting them all. I was mixed on these at first, but eventually I realized, yup, I f***ing hate these. This game doesn't even slightly deserve the amount of hate it gets, but it doesn't really deserve praise either. Its bad aspects aren't really that egregious, but its good aspects aren't really that impressive. I was planning on saying that it was easily the most functional Sonic game I've ever played, but then this happened, so I guess that's out the window. We all know that I love kart racers, but we still need to start things off with some brutal, sad honesty. So, I play Genji in Overwatch. I unironically like K-pop. I actually thought Mighty No. 9 wasn't that bad. My entire face is made of CGI. Felony murder. It exists. One time I went to the store to buy something and I couldn't find what I was looking for, so I just left my cart in the aisle. I mean, I just f***ing left it there. Oh, also I have 2 copies of this game, and I've still never played it. And what would a 3D platformer be without boss fights? Introducing the Freaky Monkey 5, my favorite sex move. Though it is worth mentioning that they actually cared about this game's accessibility enough to have a casual setting that gives you infinite lives and turns the knockback off. But I only played on Veteran because I'm a big boy and knockback doesn't even bother me. Don't you dare cut to a montage of me dying from it. I'm the one editing this, why did I do that? It's just cool that it looks and feels like a football as you move back and forth catching pass after pass. Alright, now that all you pussy-ass sports fans got your fill, it's time for the adults to talk. There's a Crash Bandicoot one! You also come across many towns where you can grab some items and upgrades, have sex, catch your breath. But yeah, mostly just have sex, no one tell Zelda please. This is the track I want brought back and completely made over more than any other. It could just be so amazing. Whew, if there's anything that drives home just how much content is in Mario Kart games or how much sex I have, it's definitely that. Did I mention yet that this game is a little odd? One second a giant man is holding you in his hands as he hovers over the planet, the next you're running around someone's rafters trying to collect eggs. I mean, what the hell? It's not Saturday night yet. Color me pretty damn surprised to find myself in the originals having even more trouble with depth perception and hitboxes. Granted, nothing like this happened, but that's not saying a whole lot. He watches helplessly as some lady gets diced and then scores a clutch crit on his bedsheets. No! God, I hope that thing doesn't trigger ambush spawns. I know it's like $1.60 a month, but that shouldn't matter. The Nintendo I know would never provide a subpar service and say, what do you expect? It's only $1.60 a month. The Nintendo I know would create a good service first, then charge probably a little more than it's actually worth. Bowser and his son sit and stare across the ocean as they talk about how Peach isn't actually Junior's mother, all leading to one of the best, most iconic moments in the history of the franchise.
I wanna fight that Mario again.
That's my boy.
Oh yeah, also the game has been voice acted this whole time. Super Mario Sunshine. It seemed like everyone could agree that the worst part of ARMS was actually playing ARMS. And that's why I thought it'd be interesting to talk about why I think ARMS failed. You know, it sold over 2 million copies, so you could really argue it didn't fail, but you could also shut up. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against any of those other franchises, but slapping Mega Man on a game is how you really get my attention. Smash Bros? Mega Man. Uncharted? Mega Man. Vacuum Cleaner? Mega Man. So the first way this game differentiates itself from other Mario games is how layered and complex the story is. You see, in this one, Bowser kidnaps Peach. Technique points are increased by having the Pokemon in the middle of the frame, and special points come from those Easter eggs I mentioned earlier, like getting a picture of Pikachu on a surfboard or Jigglypuff singing. Size and pose, though, I couldn't even begin to explain. I give him an action shot of Charizard literally melting the skin off my body, and he's like, I don't know about this one. Is that half a Magikarp? And with those out of the way, all that's left is Nasty Nork himself. Once you beat Mr. Sandman and become the champion, which isn't too Herculean of a task, all 13 fighters come back for the title with new fighting styles and often gimmicks, effectively upping this game's career fight count to 26, 10 above Super Punch-Out. And the interesting thing about these title defense fights is that they are just absolute f***ing bullshit. Dry Bones in the Dry Bomber kart is to this day my favorite character and kart combination in the history of kart racers. Reason number 1, I'm driving a f***ing tank. Reason number 2, I'm driving a f***ing tank. Come on. What the hell is this? A non-posable figure would still be better. Another chicken strip would be better. The only thing that could make these worse is if you only got 1 disc per meal. Some people collect these things, and I question if they have the stomach to ask the cashier, yo, you got any Amy feet left? Dance Monkey Dance is basically just the first rhythm game I'm viciously bad at. Monkey Soccer is, get this, soccer. And Monkey Climber is... Holy shit. Imagine it, it's the 1980s and you're in an arcade playing some Pac-Man. You think to yourself, man, I wish I had games at home that didn't have halitosis. And then, a flash. Holy shit! Is that an Italian? Any extra level of guarantee that you'll get what you want is extremely appreciated. The problem is that it's time to sell your thumbs on the black market if you want any hopes of opening enough packs to get a functional deck going. Okay, hear me out. It's a really fun deck. Wait a minute. Play that back. Oh my god. It all makes sense now. But how does Mike Tyson fit into the Zelda timeline? You guys know what I'm thinking of, right? They see you when you're sleeping, they know when you're awake, and they can get you presents in one night flat. F***ing Amazon. And really, there's nothing quite like opening a present and realizing that the only thing you really want to see coming out of that box is someone to love and spend your life with. But that's one of the only things they can't bring you, because that's called human trafficking. And I mean, sure, you could maybe ask them to, like, build you a husband or wife, but if you think about it, isn't that kind of just slavery with extra steps? Anyway, I guess I'm gonna roll this ball. As much as people hate to admit it, Sonic has one of the best casts of characters in all of video games. Just about any of the main characters from his games could be turned into fun and unique Smash fighters, like Tails, SBO, Vector, Danica Patrick. Maybe it's got something to do with how much I loved watching the show and collecting the cards back in the day. Maybe it's got something to do with its mechanics, or maybe it's just that name carrying so much weight. But Duel Links gives me a feeling deep down that I just can't ignore. It's magic. Or a tumor. It should come as no shock at this point that if you skipped on this game, I believe you thoroughly missed out and you should definitely go back and give it a shot. And hey, don't sleep on that 3D effect either. Come on, Nintendo. I'm an adult. I know when I need to take breaks. Okay, but like, who really needs eyes? Unfortunately, I'm just no good at these games. Every time I find a fun one, I pick a character I like, try and fail to learn their combos, cry in the corner, lack desire to go online, cry in the corner, put the game back on the shelf, cry in the corner, That last one really had nothing to do with the game, it's just a daily thing. Basically, when Naughty Dog is getting ready to work on CTR, they recreated this track for Crash in order to prove to Sony that the PS1 could handle it, which is probably why the first track in that game has, what do you know, giant pirate ships. So even when I'm praising Diddy Kong, it all comes back to Crash. I probably should feel worse about it than I do. Sorry fellas out there, I should've had you get your ladies out of the room before I won them all over with that pure masculine energy. Can't help it, it's just what Diddy Kong Racing does to people. When I think of video games in general, these games are what come to mind. Sure, sometimes they get weird, sometimes they get bullshit, but in general, I'll pretty much always trust Mega Man games for a good time. And damn, I love them so much I got this upgrade. With this baby, I'm a It is unquestionably the most glitchy Mario game ever released. I felt like I could barely get through a single mission without something weird happening. Here I am, phasing through a boat. Oh look, it's Shadow oh, okay. He's part of the wall now. Hey, you wanna come over and play the Crash Bandicoot Happy Meal toy with me?
Happy Meal toy? Are you f***ing 7? I have a wife and kids, Wade. I can't just sit and f*** around with a toy.
The multiplayer didn't work. Whoa, it's Spyro! Why waste all that time coming up with new characters, new worlds, new stories when you can just make Mario Tennis Ultra Smash? Sinning isn't that bad. I don't think any design decision in any video game confuses me quite as much as Wrath of Cortex introducing 4 new masks with cool abilities and only letting the bad guy use them. It's like, nah, don't worry about it. I didn't come to this game for fun. On a scale from Kirby to hard, I'd put Curse of the Moon in the heavenly spot known as challenging. As for Curse of the Moon 2, I'm putting it in Number 8, Greenwood Village. Hey, what's your guys' favorite commandment? I think mine is thou shalt not make a shortcut that is slower than the normal ass path, goddammit. All in all, I'm glad I've finally experienced this very crazy piece of Nintendo history. And hey, I actually did figure out how to sell the series to a bigger audience. Just put Yoshi in the game! It's kind of hard to not have a smirk on your face while playing, and watching yourself grow from collecting batteries and erasers to just rolling up entire nations is pretty damn satisfying. Although, we are rolling these up so we can throw them into space, so I guess that's kinda genocide, but whoops, sorry! Can't hear you over the J-pop! So now I can't play in dock because it overheats, and I kinda can't play out of dock without feeling like I'm playing Pet Hairdryer Simulator. I could easily see people disagreeing with me on the games being disappointing, but this is all absolutely unacceptable. Nah, what are you talking about, Wade? Now it's like all games have hard mode. So forget those modes and answer me a question. Have you ever wanted to know how a frog feels tetherballing? Don't worry, you don't actually have to respond. We all know what your answer is. When the game is just asking you to move through the levels, Tana is fine, but her grappling hook just isn't that fun to use. The number of boxes they put way off the side of the screen for you to hook isn't much more than an annoyance, and there's really nothing engaging about this gameplay. Did they really expect people to be like, you know, I really wasn't feeling this game, but then I pressed R2, baby, yeah! Wait a minute. The smell's coming back. It's a Christmas miracle! I reek!